Good morning. Yes, it is. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. And September 22nd, to be exact. So we had a long day yesterday. We left here at 6:45 in the morning and we never got back till 10 after 4 last night. In the process, I blew my frickin' knee out, so that didn't help. So I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so it's 20 after 4 in the morning instead of 5 o'clock, the usual time. I just couldn't stand laying in bed any longer. All right, so we had talked yesterday about, step one or part one of getting a business up and going. And we'll go into part two today. And I'll also show you some clips where we were working on stuff and the trip up and back. It's not going to be big clips. I don't know if you guys want to see some of the windmills they have up here, but we had seen this tractor before, just about a year ago. And this fella, he goes to these municipality auctions online and he buys stuff, pretty much just goes by the pictures and hopes for the best. And he turned out good on this compact because we were able to fix it. It had a hydraulic leak. They used it as a salting tractor for sidewalks and stuff. It had an enclosed cab and stuff. But the salt had got underneath the hitch system and it actually oxidized and wore a hole right through the aluminum cast housing. And we racked our brains, and then I thought of, well, shoot, when I worked up to the mines in the mill, we used to use a product called DevCon, and you could add different grits for hardness and stuff, but this stuff is like steel when it hardens, and the wear and stuff on it. So what we ended up doing was, it took a few days just to get it clean enough so there wasn't any drops of oil, water, or anything around it, to apply the, we had to do a lot of scraping and cleaning and pulling off the crap. But we got the DevCon where we wanted it and in place, and we let it sit for 2 days so it could go through the hardening process. And once that was done, we were able to bolt back on the hitch system, and we actually, one of the doors was completely off and it lacked the rubber seal, so he sent us the rubber seal that went around and we mounted that door for him. But this time around, he had bought a loader for that tractor, and he hired a kid that worked for a John Deere dealership, I guess it changed mower blades and did services, to try to get this unit to work. And no matter what he tried, it didn't work. So we ended up, it had not been used from the factory. So all of the block with your valves in it were froze right up, and the cables were too. So we had to get the cables working, and then we got the valves working. But we hadn't planned on having to take the tire off it to work on the valves, so we didn't bring a jack. So we ended up driving back into Plattsburgh to Tractor Supply to get a jack big enough to jack this thing off the ground. As you'll see in the pictures, the only way you're going to access these ports is you got to take that big high flotation tire right off. And thank goodness it wasn't loaded. That would have been a tussle. It was hard enough as it was, but we got everything working, but it was missing one part. And he was going to have the kid pick it up today at the dealership, take it out, and Just bolt on the one part and he should be good. He's not going to be happy with the bill, but it is what it is. Had it gone to a John Deere dealership, they would have replaced the block, the valves, and they wouldn't have worked on it there. They would have sent a truck out to get it and took her back to the shop. See, that's the bad thing about doing service calls, is you never seem to have the right tools with you. You cannot have enough tools. And we hadn't thought about a jack because we didn't think we needed a jack. What the hell would the jack have to do with the hydraulics, right? Simple wire brushes to clean up the corrosion around the valves. You know, we had the other tools between the tools that I carry in the service truck anyways. And then Claude threw in his toolbox in the back of the truck, so we'd have doubles of each or whatever. Anyways, we got the job done. And I'll show you some clips. All right, let's get started into part 2 of Eric's soaps and what we're going to do. Okay, so what we did yesterday, what my hopes were yesterday, is that we came up with a business name, we got it registered, we filed for a sales tax number, we did the business plan to kind of hone down exactly what service or products we're going to offer, and we've done a lot of research on what the market demands are, and are you going into a market segment that is saturated already? And like I told you yesterday, you don't want to be like everybody else. Again, you're unique. You're one in a billions. So to do it the same way everybody else is doing it does not apply, because what may work for one shop or business may not work for the other. And again, if you get 5 businesses and a 5-mile radius that are all doing the same and trying to be the same, there's not going to be enough work to go around. At least up in our area. I mean, I'm talking rural New York. So 5 miles, you're talking from where I live, the closest grocery store is 9 miles away. So in the city, it'd be even, tighter within a few blocks and stuff. But I think you get what I'm trying to say, is that you need to, whatever you decide to sell, whether it be a product or service, you have to 110% believe in that product or service. You can't fake it until you make it. You probably have heard that before. It does not apply. And you also should have learned yesterday that with the business plan, we're looking at short-term and long-term goals. And some of the short-term goals are getting all the permits, what have you, in place. Finding a place to do business, whether it's out of your garage to start you off, or if it's in a retail setting, or what they call up here the mini malls, where the smaller businesses can get in. You have to find a location. And then I want you to think a little bit about how we're going to get word out. Because, as I said yesterday, I've had people, before I got into this business, I was doing web development and server administration. And that was basically just developing websites for folks and then hosting it on our servers and maintaining and making sure that the servers stayed up. So you had redundancy. If one went down, the other three were still carrying that website. So it didn't physically go down, it was still up. But one of the biggest misconceptions, and it would make me laugh, be honest with you, I would have customers want me to develop a website for them, get it hosted, get it live, and I would go and do all the getting it out to the search engines so the search engines could find it, putting in keywords, meta tags, so forth, and listing it with quite a few, like over 100 search engines that were out there. But the biggest thing that most of my customers were afraid of was the minute that it went live, that they would be basically bombarded with customers and they wouldn't be able to keep up. The real truth is you're probably only going to get 2 or 3 visitors, and that's going to be you, your mother, and another relative that you've told them about. See, when your site goes live, you're one in a gazillion websites, let me put it that way, that are all competing for the same users, the same people that are online. And you have to put in the time or pay somebody to get people to start coming to your website. And if you're going to be doing e-commerce on that website, then you need to do what we termed as get somebody that's a social media expert, or time equals money. So if you don't have much money, you're going to spend more time learning how to do it, right? But if you don't have the time, then you can pay somebody that does it all the time. And if you're looking for speed, that's the way to go, because these guys are doing it all the time. And be careful, not every social media expert is the same. It's all going to be dependent upon what kind of a budget you have to get your name out. Now, we're looking at Eric's Soap Company. And I have to find a place to work out of. So I'm going to work out of my garage and home in the beginning. And I've got my business name, I've got sales tax number, I've got the necessary permits in place for my locale. I've paid to have a website made for me. And right now it's just a static website until I decide how I'm going to sell my soap. But I'm trying to get this stuff in place. I've developed this is part 2, is getting word out. So I'm going to go to Facebook first, because I've already got a Facebook account. And that Facebook account is a personal one. But if you click on the tabs, it'll have a drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner. It'll have pages. And what you can do on those pages is do a business page on Eric's Soap. The cost is $0, but you have to have the time to do it. And my suggestion is if you aren't that comfortable in creating something really nice for your Facebook business page, then Upkin and Fiverr are my 2 top ones that I would highly recommend. And not all designers are the same. And when you go over to them, you're going to find that there's a wide spectrum of prices. And the farther you go overseas, the cheaper it gets. If you're looking for someone in the USA, then it's going to be more expensive, is what I've found. See, at one time, with the e-commerce side and the web development side and the server administration side, I actually had 5 overseas employees. And each one was doing a different task. You know, my main one, Zara, she was an excellent worker, and she would do all the adding the listings to eBay, Amazon, Walmart, Sears. She could compile the database sheets and rewrite them so that they were going up onto the server, onto those venues. And she was also adding it to our website. And I had 2 folks that worked for me that just did web development and helped me with server administration. And then the other ones, they worked on, whether it be the designing part, like the social media folks, and the thing is they're contract employees. You offer to pay them X number of dollars per hour or by the job, one or the other. There's a lot of highly, creative and excellent people up there to choose from. But you also have to be leery too, because you have some that aren't so honest. And if you get the wrong person setting up your e-commerce site where you're actually collecting, it's going into, credit cards and so forth, you probably want to do that part yourself, or someone from the U.S. that the feds could grab in a heartbeat if something went awry. But that's just it. Usually most startups, they don't have a lot of money, so they have to take the time to learn how to do each step. And as you get money coming in, the bigger you get, the more you can farm out to help you so that you can concentrate on the product or service that you're working on. And that, in my case, is Eric's Soap. So I need a website for my soap. I want it static right now, just to get it up there. And then I want to start developing places where to get word out. And that's Facebook Marketplace, that you can do Facebook ads, but be very careful about the Facebook ads, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can spend a lot of money and have very few results. Google offers a service, AdSense, where you pay for keywords when people are searching for those online. And the higher the keyword is rated, the more expensive it is to have it in your listing. I just got to move my knee a little bit. It's cramping up. But those are all paid service, whether it be Facebook ads or Google ads. But for Facebook business page is $0. And you can set it up so that you can send and receive messages right through your business page. Facebook has done a great job to try to attract businesses to their site. And they offer a lot of their users to you. And I think eventually it's going to become a paid, where you have to pay it to the more people that get involved. But for now, it's free. Google has a service as well where you can get you want to get it set up that it's going to be about your location, your business hours. It'll have Google reviews on you that people can leave. Uh, and again, it doesn't take a lot of time to get that set up, but it's also telling Google that you're legit. This is you. Here I am, and this is who we are. In your description, they allow you a description of what your business is, what your business is selling, blah blah blah, and then they allow you to post however often you want, whether it be daily, hourly, weekly. I recommend at least once a week posting something up there just to keep Google content that you're still active and you're still worthy of having their users check you out. Because if somebody says, who sells soap near me? And they're within a 15-20 mile radius of me, I'll come up in the search that Eric Soap sells, perfumed and organic soaps. So, it depends on what business you're trying to get into, and whether it's a service or whether it's a product. And if it's a service, is it locale driven, meaning that they have to be in your locale because you're a physical location, and they can bring, like repair shop, they can bring stuff to you. But for Eric Soap, I want to have a e-commerce type platform. And I'm going to be your average person that doesn't have the skills for the website, server administration, and developing your own e-commerce site. I'm going to go to Shopify. Now, Shopify is an all-in-one program, software. And you're going to need to do a few things. And that is, you got to come up with your website name. And let me tell you, the shorter it is, the better it is. If somebody is typing you into a search engine, you don't want a name this long, even if you condensed it. Like, I have websites like Northern New York Ads, so it's NNYADS.com. And I have Central New York, and I have Long Island, New York. See, I got into it early, and I bought a lot of .coms. So, you need the shortest name as possible. I know some websites that, have this long, drawn-out thing, and it just doesn't work. It may work for certain ones, but for the most part, it doesn't. So an example would be, our shop here is Northern New York Parts. So I wanted to get it as small as possible for a domain for a .com. And you have to register that online, either through, I recommend Namecheap is a good one. But for our business, it's just simply NNYPARTS.com. Northern New York Parts.com. And if you're going to do business, make it a .com. They're going to offer you .biz, .this, make it a .com. And play with it. So like with Eric Soap, I may go with esoap.com or esoaps.com. Something as short as possible. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. But with Shopify, you have to have a domain, and you need to point it towards Shopify. When you open an account with Shopify, they're going to ask you these things, and you may need to hire this done to get you set up. And then once you have a domain and you have it pointing towards that Shopify store, when somebody types in esoaps.com, it's going to come up under my Shopify shopping cart, what I have for an e-commerce solution. And they have a lot of bells and whistles, and they're getting more stuff on board the longer they're in business. But the key thing is they're an all-in-one e-commerce solution for people that don't have a lot of product line. You can have a lot of product if it's like 1, 2, 3, or 4, but if you're selling 1,000 items of different items, Shopify is not built to handle that amount of e-commerce solution. So the Shopify is for the mom and pops and the guys and the gals that are trying to get word out. They're going to have, a smaller product line. And when it comes to hair, it's Eric's soap. So we're going to have flavored soap and organic soap. And in the flavored soap, we're going to have it broke down into, let's say, 5 different flavors, scents, whether it be strawberry, grape smell, floral smell. You can buy all that stuff to add to get the smell, the fragrance. There's a big business behind that. So Shopify is going to work for me in that I can list the products that I have, and my customers can go there and go through the complete shopping cart, add to cart, and then make payment. And when they're making payment, if it collects their name, address, everything, so that you can send that bar of soap or soaps to that individual, and the money is collected and put into your bank account. This is fee-based. You pay a monthly subscription rate, and last time I was over there, it was a percentage of, because they're doing the processing for you. So, if you went out and you got a credit card company to handle virtual, where you're running their card numbers and stuff, they're going to charge 3%, 5%, 6%, depending on what your credit rating is as far as a business goes. If you're unknown, it's going to be higher. As you get known and they know you're not a fly-by-night, the price will get cheaper. So for the second part, it's all about marketing. It's all about getting a website developed. It's all about getting set up, your business page for Facebook, your Google listing. YouTube has where you can get word out too about your business through them. I don't use Snapchat and I don't use Twitter, but those 2 places as well, you can get your name out. And I'm probably missing a couple things, but I'm not over there, so I can't speak to what they have per se. Now, if I'm going to do something just locally, and I'm not going to be selling a product, I'm selling a service, whether it be repair service, beautician, cutting hair, you name it, then the route that I would go for that style business is I would go to, you can either do it locally or you can go to places like Vistaprint. I recommend them, where they can get you X number of business cards. I would also order the flyers, and if I were trying to get started in the local area, I'll be honest with you, because money is tight when you're trying to start a business, I would get the business cards, the flyers, and also a magnet business card. And I would go door to door in the areas that surround me and introduce myself that I'm Eric, this is the service that I'm providing, and I just want to leave you with this, have you take a look over. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me. We're local, we're, trying to get a business started, and I hope we can do business. That'll get you in the door. If they're not home, you can leave it in the door or where they can see it to grab it. And why I say the magnets, because a lot of people will take the magnet and throw it onto the refrigerator. And it's there 365 days a year, so if somebody needs your service, throw it on the refrigerator. But that's how I would try to introduce myself to the local area. I still do the Facebook, and I still do the Google, and I wouldn't worry about e-commerce solutions at the present. You're going to need to have a way to collect credit cards, money from credit cards. But we've talked in a previous video, I would go to PayPal, set up a PayPal account if you don't already have one, and just simply have them send you a swipe machine that you plug into your phone, into your iPad, your laptop, and you can do all the billing right through that. And the last I knew, they covered the wide spectrum, Visa, Master, Discover, American Express. But that's if I was trying to do it as a service, it's local. All right. So on that note, I want to get you some clips now of yesterday, and you guys have a great Friday. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them. And we'll see you here Monday morning. I know I have some stuff going on the weekend too that I post, but for Shop Talk, I'll see you Monday. Thanks for watching.
Something. Come down, but
Where do you want them?
it'll come close to me, but alright. We're just past.
Just try and pull the pins.
We got one pin pulled. And that one. Pins laying right there.
Now there are little clips on every bottom of all of them.
There should be a little hairpin just like that on every one of them. You want to do them all. See if we can get like that. We'll unhook all of them and see if all the cables are moving. These, all we got to do is get them sprayed, get this shit away from them. And if we turn them, see if they move.
Pretty solid.
You know it is. I guess I'm going to too loose. If we can get it to turn, we can get it to move. Is that good fit on there to you? Try the 13 millimeter. If we can get it on this way here, tap it on and try to tap down on it and then up on it and then down on it and then up on it. Tap it straight in. Oh, that turned. But the blaster door. Oh, come on, you fucker. You go. Look at that PB blaster. Put that sword in there. I play
This
that.
is not an infomercial. If you
Huh?
don't have this, you need this.
Don't use that.
Don't buy this.